Fredonia, Alex. Here you are. Hello everybody. Been desperately trying to get you since we were supposed to be live. I've been talking to I suppose a space that nobody's heard. Pardon. Welcome to WildEarth. It's a beautiful afternoon, and well, I'm sorry we had a little bit of a technical difficulty to begin with. This all had something to do with the satellite, and I thought maybe the satellite was pointing in the wrong direction or something. I don't know much about it, but finally you're with us, and welcome to Djuma Game Reserve this afternoon. Welcome to the Greater Kruger National Park. It's really great to have you with us. My name is Marc, by the way, and VM is on camera with me, and at some point later on during the afternoon we'll introduce you to Brent and Bryan, who are on the other vehicle. The other vehicle's name is Wendy, this vehicle's name is Jigger, and we drive around this part of the Greater Kruger Park a couple of times a day to try and bring you some of the most wonderful things we have in this world. And I've stopped here for a very specific reason, because yesterday, if you joined us yesterday, and this is why you have to join us every day, is because this is not just a one-off thing. We're here every day, and we like you to participate in what we do. We like you to be part of our world, and that means that sometimes we don't finish talking about what we were talking about on a drive, and we get to talk about it the next day. And so you have to have been here yesterday to have been part of a discussion we were having about leadwood trees. And towards the end of the discussion, I had a question about a living leadwood tree, because we were seeing mostly dead leadwoods, which are skeletons and icons. They are nature's sculptures. They're just these endless or timeless monuments that stand in the bush and never rot and never get eaten by insects. They just wither away. Here in front of me is a living legend. There's a living leadwood, and for the moment that I stopped here, the sun was on it, and it was actually really highlighted by the sun because its leaves are still quite green. It's a lovely specimen of a leadwood, but it is still a youngster. It's maybe a few hundred years old, but I'd say maybe two to 300 years old, judging by its girth. Knowing how slow a leadwood tree grows, because I've known leadwoods for many decades that haven't changed sizes. But it's probably one of the heaviest woods we get here, and probably one of the longest living trees, because we don't get baobabs. I'm at a place called Chelapan, and as we zoom out you'll notice that there's actually a dry pan in front of us. I'm going to go a little bit forward where you can see it. It's a wonderful place where in the summer months the rain fills it up, and it bubbles with life, it boils with life. There is just so much in this pan, and right now all it is a dry little clay bowl known as Chela Pan. Chela means frog in Shangaan, and in the summer months the water stretches into these grasses that you can see around the edges, and in fact the grasses create this almost idyllic frog habitat, very well protected. There's even been a crocodile in this little pan once upon a time, a very small crocodile that must have come up from the Mulwati River. And for some of the viewers who've been with us for a very long time, you might remember that we came frogging here once. We brought the cameras and the spotlights, and we tried to show you a few frogs. Not easy to do, and it's not always good to handle frogs, so we were wearing protective protective gear. Sorry, you're back with me. But I had to put on hypoallergenic latex gloves just to handle these frogs, because frogs are going through quite a serious problem at the moment in the world. They're suffering from a fungus that is, I suppose, a result of the modern world, the changes in the way the earth is able to cycle everything that we as humans put out into it. And frogs, because they absorb so much through their skin and they have such a close link to the aquatic environment, frogs are almost like what we call a litmus test to the health of an environment. And if you've got healthy frogs, you've probably got a healthy environment, because the first thing that is going to be affected is the water, and if the water is affected, it affects firstly probably the frogs even before the fish. So this is Chelapan. There's a jackleberry. I'm going to drive past it now and BM will show you. There's a jackleberry here that has memories. In fact, this tree first of all on the left, this is a gardenia. It hasn't changed much in many years, but as this little pan was drying up in about 2009, 2010, those years, every summer it dries up. There used to be a young leopard who loved lying on the edge of this pan, and his brother, well, both of them had been seen here many times, both of them in this tiny little jackleberry that's growing on there. You can see the base coming into view now, the tiny little jackleberry. That we've actually had 2-year-old leopards in that jackleberry, one of them being Mishu with a terrapin in his mouth, and another one being Induna, his brother. Mishu was going through a Chelonian, or a tortoise phase, tortoise and terrapins. He just loved playing with them. Well, my reasoning for being here, we've come here from camp. There is every reason to try and stick around close to camp this afternoon, because the monkeys have been shouting all day. We tried to get there just before the end of drive this morning. I spent the whole morning with elephants. It was fantastic. I was so lucky that we had this really relaxed herd of ellies. There were about 7 or was it 9 youngsters, at least 4 adult females. There's one bull that was causing a little bit of an upset with the children. He wasn't very child friendly. You can find bulls that are very tender and very accepting of young calves, and this bull would have nothing with the child. In fact, he made a point of being a little bit rough. But it's elephant society. Who am I to judge elephants? They've got their own rules. And as soon as he did that, the matriarchs came to the rescue, and they actually kept their children away from him. And it'd be nice to find them. It'd be nice to see where they went, to see whether this bull is still hanging around. Maybe his family, maybe he's jealous of the attention that the youngsters are getting, because that is something that occurs in elephants. Maybe he is a... Yeah, they're tracks. This is the bull's track. If you look up the road just over here, around this little stretch, you can see quite nicely, because of the angle, those big round elephant footprints with a much deeper shadow at the back of the foot. And because we're at the angle we can't see how the toes have actually kicked the sand forward. So that's interesting. If the bull has come this way, then it's possible that maybe the rest of the herd have also headed east. This is going east past Chelapan, probably going up onto Nyala Road south, and heading to Buffelsum Dam. So I think maybe we ought to do that. I don't know. I'm not sure where Brent is. Maybe Brent is closer. weather's changing every minute. 1 minute it looks like the sun is going to be here till sunset, and the next minute we have cloud cover. But I think all in all, it's going to prove to be a really beautiful sunset later on. It's up to the two of us, or the four of us, actually. Myself and Brent and Bryan, up to the four of us. The Tara and final control, giving you something to see under that lovely sunset. Okay, first I'm going to check this way to see if those elephants cross this way. Because they were heading more from Treehouse Dam. They didn't even go to Treehouse Dam. We followed them around Spum Road when we first got picked up, or when we first joined them. They were heading north up Spum Road and turned a little bit northwest for a while, and then they turned when that bull came in. When that bull came in, they almost turned east and then northeast, and here are their tracks crossing the road right here with the babies straight towards Giraffe Dam. I know we need to go on the Giraffe Road. The road that follows the drainage line. Never mind that, cancel that, thanks.
Copy, no electricity, no Marcus. There's the track that I found when that thing changes out. They've got into balls, I think. I'm going to head down to the end and got to somewhere on 22.
Sounds like a good plan. I'll catch up with you later.
Carry on.
This is the kind of the trajectory that the elephants took from this morning. They came from Treehouse Dam. They were walking here. As I said goodbye to you. In fact, it was really one of those wonderful moments that I sort of wish that we could just shift time, because just after I said goodbye, and I said goodbye this morning, we had that one cow with a calf, and just after they started walking away, as VM was panning away, and we ended our broadcast, the whole herd, the rest of the herd, came in single file across the road. Anyway, or just dance anyway. Dance anyway. Dance anyway is on Twitter, and Dance anyway was asking a question that I'm afraid to answer, and I'm distracted with Impala now, so I don't have to answer it. The question was, where's Kokomo or Kokomo? Hello, boys. Impala rams. The thumping you can hear in the background is a pump. Sounds like a lister. This is unusual. There is a very small herd of females, and these 3 adult rams that are here. They're probably no longer in estrus. They're probably conceived already, so although he is showing signs of herding them, but he's not being very aggressive with another ram that wants to come in from the left. Maybe it's the larger the herd, the more intense the ram has to be to protect his herd. This little boy has only got a handful of ewes. And the other male comes in and he lays claim. Let me move forward a little bit. This is quite interesting. The first male chased the other male off. They've probably been sparring and they've reached an agreement. Too much energy to spend fighting, so they know who's boss and who's not. Unusual. He's actually coming back. So we're on a trail of elephant. We're going to move on. We have a noise in the background that you can hear. That's sorry, children. Go back to what you were doing. I won't interrupt. Got your own thing. We're a third male. I'm going to see if these ellies across this road. But yes, that noise was a pump. It's a water pump. It's a borehole. The little diesel pump drives the water pump that sucks up the water from the borehole that could be anywhere between 50 even 150. Oh, look, there's a giraffe. There's a giraffe. Hello, Twiga. The shape of this tree has actually been shaped by giraffe and kudu over years of browsing. It's a juvenile torchwood. And instead of wrapping her tongue around the branches and stripping them off, she's actually choosing one leaf at a time, almost. Very gingerly taking leaf by leaf. Some parts of East Africa, there are gardenias that are shaped like that. They almost get like a diamond shape. From giraffe leaning down and kudu leaning up. You can see the shape that where she's feeding now. But underneath the tree is where probably the tallest kudu can reach. And so it's almost like a giraffe and kudu browse bonsai. And the more they browse on it, the more it branches out, and maybe the more leaves there are, and perhaps even so, the more concentrated the nutrients in the leaves, the tannins, well, we'll see how long she stays on that tree. Not too long. My guess is she's making her way up to quarantine. I'm thinking that she's possibly one of that group of 4 all females that we saw the other day that have been wandering around, and there have also been some tracks of a big male that might be tailing them. In this kind of bushveld that there's not quite adult trees, a lot of it is low combretum with the marulas on the higher ground where the sandveld is. But this kind of bushveld, the giraffe can spend greater periods further apart because they can see each other so well over the lower younger trees.
Or Marc coming?
Go ahead, Lex. Not yet, no. I'm just on the trail of those in Law from this morning. There is a Dlamiti on just off of Philemon's Dip on the eastern side of the road up to Quarantine. So far not seeing any of the others. She's just north of Philemon's Dip, but east of the road up to Quarantine. Lex, come in.
Go ahead.
Just north of the Philemon's Dip, the pump, and just east of the road up to Quarantine, at the bottom of the dip.
Okay, thank you very much.
At the moment I'm on that track that runs down to Twin Dams Road, that new track.
Very, very interested in the LiveSafari. Is there any space for me to join?
Really? No, you're welcome to join. There might be some others around. I haven't seen them yet, but I think it might be one of a group that was here a couple of days ago. Velma in Michigan. How many species of giraffe are there? What type of giraffe is this? Well, now, that is a debatable subject. I don't know, maybe by now genetics have sorted it all out, but if one has only textbooks to go by, there are a number of different distinct giraffe. From here all the way up into East Africa, and then of course there's the okapi in West Africa, which is probably the only other member of the same family of animals. The okapi is a kind of a short giraffe. friends. Those other 3 girls that were with you. This is the southern giraffe, and well, while there are some distinct species or distinct varieties of giraffe, I think it's still quite debatable. But I'm going to show you, I'll find my mammal book while we're watching her, and I'll try and show you some of the different giraffe patterns that you get. Lucy wants to know how long is the neck of a giraffe. Depends, Lucy. And you can't say you weren't expecting me to say that. It does. Depends on the size of the giraffe. You mean in proportion? I suppose maybe in proportion to the adult, in proportion to the whole animal. It's almost half the height. Great terrain to watch her, but we've also got fairly flat light at the moment. But now that there isn't really that very bright sunshine, maybe we can just closer to her, and you can almost zoom in on her face and her eyebrows and her eyelashes and her tongue. That hello, Mrs. G. No. Really? That's behind the tree. Now we can't see your tongue and your eyelashes. Miss Jen in Dallas. Miss Jen in Texas. Can giraffe swim? Oh no, Miss Jen, they can't swim. Giraffe and water don't go well together. There's a physics involved here in terms of lung capacity and the compression of air going underwater. So giraffe in deep water would, I think, oh gosh, coming. Okay, I've got to switch off because she's panicking a little bit. She wants to. Didn't want to think that I was teasing her or something. Look, she's crossing the road. Oh, let me go back. She's now going through Philemon's drip actually, so maybe she's following the others. Maybe I should leave her be. Might actually come out into the open now. We're back where this group of impala were, where these impala were with 3 rams and one very small group of ewes, and now we're going to see them all come out into the open. Give you an idea of size, I hope, in that we've got the impala in this beautiful sunlight and this giraffe that's about to come out into the sunlight with them. One ram here at the moment. reacting to another vehicle coming in from the side. Everybody's frozen in time. Hello, Angela. And thank you, Angela, for the message. And Angela's in Boston, wanting to know if giraffe's temperament is similar to that of elephant. Oh gosh, go quickly to Brent, quickly.
Guys, really exciting. This is a first for me since I've been here. A serval cat. We get a lot of questions about the other little cats that occur here. And Bryan and I are in Arethusa, and we're following the tracks of a pride of lions, and we just bumped into this little serval. Isn't that amazing? So we don't want to move too much right now. Just going to keep still and let it relax. It looks like it's a youngster, so it's a little kitten. She's moving away a little bit. I'm just going to wait a little bit before I move the car. I don't want to disturb. So also, I know you guys have been watching for a while. You'll notice when I move around animals that aren't relaxed, I let the vehicle run for a few seconds just so we don't disturb. But isn't that amazing, guys? So I can see her still. Looks like a youngster. Just in the grass there. I'm just going to get Bryan in the right position. It's lying down. Isn't that incredible? You got her there, Bryan? Just tell me forward, back.
Go forward a bit.
I can't see my monitor. I'm sorry.
In amongst the twigs.
Maybe if we go forward slightly, there might be a longer line of sight.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
A little bit more. There we go.
Now, guys, you don't probably realize this, but we definitely see more leopard and lion than serval. This is an incredible sighting. So it is a kitten. I don't think it's an adult. The mother might be around, but she will quite often leave it by itself while she's out hunting. But the nice thing is that we know where this area is now. Or you can see she's a little bit, or he's a little bit unrelaxed, moving away from us. Very slowly, but you can see it gets a little bit further away and lifts up. I'm going to try to go back. Obviously, I'm not going to try off-road after this animal. That would just stress it out. And the fact is that we've seen it in this area now. There's a good chance, especially since it is young, so that we can come back and possibly work this area. And maybe for a while we might be able to see it again. I've lost sight. Can you see it still?
Yeah, I can still see it.
Can you go forward? Back?
Let's just hold on a sec.
Is it moving or?
Yeah, it's moving up there.
Just try a little bit forward. Duck drawing that combritum. Just try a little bit further back. Okay guys, what I'm going to do, I don't want to put too much stress or pressure on. I'm going to just move away a little bit, and then we can talk about it a bit more and in a louder voice. So I want to make sure that this animal doesn't become unrelaxed because of us pressurizing it too early. But isn't that exciting? First serval on WildEarth drives for me. I don't know if there's been one seen before. Maybe you guys can let me know. You guys have been watching for a long time. Has anyone ever seen a serval on a WildEarth drive? And you can do that by emailing us at questions@wildearth.tv, or if you're on Twitter, you can just use the hashtag Safari Live. Oh, and I got so excited I forgot about the lion tracks. Yeah. Okay. Brian's just gonna show you the lion tracks that are on the road here. I'm just gonna give me a second to draw myself towards myself. Find my radio. Well, apparently general consensus that this is the first serval ever on Safari Live. Well, we are really, really excited and happy to have been the first people to show you that. And there you can see what we're following is the lion tracks here. It has been quite windy today, so these are nice tracks. They're good tracks. They're fresh. We are in Arethusa at the moment, so we're going to definitely keep following up on those. But if anyone does have any questions about serval, I know we get asked about them quite often. And we always say, no, they're around, and everyone always wonders why we don't see them. And as I said, they occur at quite low densities, and they generally prefer much sort of bigger grasslands, but they do occur here, and we've been able to see, you can see we weren't lying, we actually were telling the truth. There are serval here, but isn't that amazing? A first for WildEarth. But while these lion tracks are fresh, we are going to keep moving along these. I know we all love seeing leopards, but I think that one might just tip the scale for me today. Bryan smiling from ear to ear. Hi Charlie, who's contacting us via Twitter. Charlie would like to know, are serval mostly diurnal or nocturnal? Well, Charlie, it's actually quite interesting. It also depends on the area. I know we have seen them up in East Africa and the Masai Mara and the Serengeti. They are mostly diurnal, and even more so crepuscular. Crepuscular means they're active at dusk and dawn. In South Africa, in certain parts I've seen in the Karoo and whatnot, very, very nocturnal, but that's also from human pressure. But I would say majority of the time, so just making sure the lion tracks are still there, that they are crepuscular. So most active at dusk and dawn, and that's sort of an hour or two before dusk, an hour or two before, after dusk and an hour or two after dawn. So I'm not sure which lions we're following at the moment. I'm not sure which pride of lions these tracks are we're following. But we will keep on them. So guys, for a little bit we're going to cross back to Marcus, see what he's been up to. But we'll be back with you quite shortly. Hopefully we get a bit more luck on these lion tracks, and we'll see you a little bit later.
back, everyone. And we're on a little track. It's a little bouncy track, as you can see. Takes us down to Twin Dams Road. I want to look for further evidence of this herd of elephants that we had this morning. They seem to be heading east, almost northeast. Kind of a trajectory that would take them to Bubbles Dam. Probably by now, because it's been some time since we were with them this morning. So we're going to head in that general direction and see if we can find anything. But there was one thing that I wanted to show you, because we had a question about the giraffe that we saw, and I was going to stay there with the giraffe, but there were other vehicles that wanted to see the giraffe. We haven't had giraffe here on Djuma for a while now. We're a very small property within a very large national park, and giraffe are not really territorial. They don't really stay in the same area, so we get to see these, I wouldn't call them migrating giraffe. They're just moving. They're just these ships that move through the bushveld from place to place. And I guess they have areas that they cover through the different seasons, and they will do perhaps almost like a circle or a route to come back to the same feeding grounds in the different seasons. But that kind of movement, that kind of ground that they cover is way bigger than the ground that we can cover. So we only get to see several giraffe or different giraffe at different times. Anyway, so other people needed to see them. I left them in the hands of some of the trainees who are doing guides courses, and I've left other guests here. We're going to see now, we're on Twin Dams Road. We're going to head a little bit towards Twin Dams itself. We're going to see if those elephants maybe crossed here. Didn't see any evidence on that really grassy road that we've just taken, that road that we were on. It's really good for looking at tracks. We're reaching a point where I want to switch off. This is close to the Milwaukee River. If these elephants are here, they might be breaking branches. We might be able to hear something. And in the interim, if I can find what I had found earlier, there we go. Marked by the hair of, I don't know what it is, some animal hair that I found once upon a time. You can just see there's a very white patch in it. So it was very long and dark, and then a little white patch. Anyways, that aside, here are the different patterns or the different subspecies of giraffe that occur throughout Africa. And, well, this is Jonathan Kingdon's book. He's showing 12 different coat patterns. I think here in the Kruger Park, in this part of Africa, this part of southern Africa, we have a little bit of a variety of giraffe, almost like a mixture between, sometimes they have solid edges to their patterning, and sometimes their patterning is actually a little bit mottled and starred. But they're certainly not, this is the up top here, the reticulated giraffe, which is a very distinctive pattern. There's no giraffe to mistake it. And I'm not sure, but I think, let's see, where's Rothschild? Rothschild is the R hybrid. Those with the reticulated. I don't know. It's just so up in the air at the moment as to how many different species of giraffe there really are, and where they all belong in one place here in the Sabi Sand, or even at home in the Mavati, in one group of giraffe. I've seen such a variety of patterns, and the only thing that was sorted out, of course, is genetics. And I personally haven't read anything yet on genetic separation of don't know. Go across the White River to see if those ellies have come up there. I don't think they've crossed the sort of tracks and gone towards. They might have actually gone towards Gary. Check. Change of minds, change of plan, change of direction. There are no any tracks crossing here, so they must have made their way towards Gary Dam. If they're not there yet, then they're in the block between there and Spillerman Cliff. Coming overcast again. We really had a bunch of seasons today. I forgot to mention it. You came straight back to me looking for elephants, and you'd been with probably the first serval caught on camera for WildEarth. I can't believe it.
First live one.
First live, yeah. Well, Tara and I saw a serval. Did you see a serval?
No, but it was a dead one, that shadow in a couple
Oh, that was recently now for Big Cat Week.
Yeah.
Wow. Tara and I saw a serval one day, and we couldn't get it on camera, so it's possibly the first ever serval on camera. So yeah, great for Brent, and well done, Brent. So I'm going to hand you back to Brent so that he can answer a few serval questions that are being sent in, and I'm going to continue to look for these ellies, pull up on their tracks, because I haven't found them yet. They came this way towards the east, but they haven't crossed the damn road yet. See you later.
Oh, welcome back, everyone. Just a quick update while we've been gone. We follow those line tracks. They keep heading to the sort of southwest. They went into a big block. So what we're doing is we're trying to loop around to make sure they don't come out. But still slight buzzing from that serval sighting. Very exciting stuff. Very, very exciting stuff. Both Bryan and I sort of smiles from ear to ear at the moment. So we're going to continue on. I'm about to go through a little dip, so there might be a little bit of signal breakup, but I'll move through it very quickly, and hopefully we'll come on the other side and pick up those line tracks again. we just got a report from Ellen Fowler that Shadow, when she was a cub, actually killed a serval. Oh, very interesting. Thanks very much, Ellen. So for those of you who might be new or just tuned in, I'll just give you a quick update. Well, Bryan and I are working on Arethusa. We're tracking a pride of lions at the moment. Marc and Viam are working on Juma, and that's a nice giraffe viewing. We were really lucky and we spotted a young serval, which is a first for me since I've been here. And we're trying to work out whether it's a first on a WildEarth LiveSafari. So if anyone has any information, we'd really appreciate it if they have been seen before. As far as we think, they haven't. So I'm very excited. Bryan and I are very smiley at the moment. But we're now looking to see if those lions, they went into this big block over here, to see if their tracks come out again. And we make our way slowly towards the Arethusa Dam. And just checking the road very carefully for those tracks of those lions. And if you are a new viewer, we are live. You are seeing what we are seeing in real time. And we are also interactive, so you can ask us questions about what we're seeing in the bush. And you can do that by emailing questions@wildearth.tv, or you can use the hashtag SafariLive if you're on Twitter. Thanks very much, John and Deb, for that update. Apparently there are some elephants at Arethusa Dam, so I'm just going to check on this edge of the block here, make sure there are no lion tracks coming out, and if there aren't, we'll shoot down to the dam quickly and then work our way back towards where we had those last tracks. Thanks very much to the guys watching the Arethusa cam. Kay Schmidt. Kay would like to know what is the difference in size between a caracal and a serval. So the biggest difference is that the caracals are actually probably more well built, so that they will be often a bit shorter. But I'll double check the exact size for you now. So the average mass of a male serval is about 11 kilograms, and a female is about 9 kilograms. And well, and a caracal is, depending on the area where they are, according to the book I've got here, up to about 17 kilograms for a male caracal, and a female up to 11.5. Serval quite often look bigger because they're much taller than a caracal, so they're much longer legs. They're incredibly adept bird hunters, and I've seen them leap into the air after guinea fowl and francolin. So we're approaching the Arethusa Dam now. Still no lion tracks coming out of this block to the west of us. Trying to see if I can spot an elephant through the trees. like the elephants might have been a bit faster than us. So we've arrived at the arrow through the dam, and you can see some hippos, a man mowing the lawn, and some geese, but no elephants. I'm just going to switch off and listen for a second. Maybe we can hear where the elephants went. We're going to have a look at those hippos in the distance there. Some African chicanas in the foreground. Some hippos over to the right. Near the man mowing the lawn. There he is, hard at work. So what you find at safari lodges, the noisy maintenance that happens to have to go on always happens while you're out in game drive. So while you're on safari, they try and keep it as peaceful as possible. So all the other stuff that happens when the guests are out on the game drive. So it looks like we might have been a bit late for those elephants. I'm going to get back on towards those lion tracks in the area I thought they were going. Thanks for the update though. We might still bump into them close by here. Here's some brown-headed parrots. I'm just trying to spot them. So guys, I might start experiencing a little bit of signal breakup for a short while as I go through this area here. I'm going to try and avoid the low-lying areas and keep up to the crest. I'm really hoping those lions come out on this road here. Lion tracks again, crossing the road here. Have a look there, Bryan. That was a lucky spot because they actually haven't walked down the road, they've walked straight across the road. So I'm going to go check around the windmills. It looks like they were running here, so they might have been chasing something possibly. just listening for a second. It is quite difficult today with the wind. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to loop around, because I can see tracks of at least 1, 2, and then I saw a third. So at least 3. There were definitely more in the other tracks we were following, but at least we're on the right track again. Quite important when you're tracking is, as great as it is to be able to follow each individual track, in terms of cutting the time down and finding the animals, you actually want to guess. So we followed those tracks, they went into this block, we're like, okay, we know it's quite a big area with no roads. Let's go check on the far end of there to see if those lion tracks have come out. And lucky in this case they have. Now we're about to do the same thing around this block. And as I said, it's been a really windy day today, so those tracks are still quite crisp. So we've still got a good possibility of finding them. The only thing that's starting to worry me a little bit is that we are moving towards our southern boundary on Arathusa, and if they have crossed through, we're not going to be able to follow further than that. I'm just going to speed up a little bit while we get round and down towards the drainage line. Station, afternoon mobile stations. Is anyone copying me?
Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, and good day. Welcome. Can't believe you saw a serval. What a magnificent little cat. Absolutely beautiful. I can count on 2 hands the times I've seen serval in my lifetime. Well, oh look, there's a flower. Pretty. Half the size that they normally are. I'm going to give you a guess.
It is a butterfly behind the flower.
There is a butterfly. It's a pretty little butterfly. Top of your screen, just left of center. You can see just those beautiful spots in the wing. The flower starts with a 4-letter word that refers to a fruit. That's a clue. And the last part of the name is another word for depart. So, there's the quiz. Flower quiz this afternoon. Flower for the ladies. And you tell me what you think it is. So, we're on the trail of elephants. And I haven't found their tracks crossing any roads yet. So, I'm about to turn around and go back to Gowrie Dam with beautiful sunlight. I think it's time that maybe I might have missed, or I might have been a little bit ahead of them before they came out of a particular block of bushveld where their tracks entered, which is just due east of the old hyena dam. And so we're going to go back towards Gowrie Dam. I'm sure they're going to be coming up, maybe even somewhere near Ingleshouse. And there have been monkeys shouting around Ingleshouse all day. And we don't know what they've been shouting at because we think it's a leopard. Monkeys only really go that cape for leopards. So Brent took a walk around, couldn't see anything. I think popped his head up. And that might just be because the leopards, because one of the youngsters, quarantine or Kanuma, they kind of accustomed to people. They've grown up with them, so they're not too frightened of people, but they at the same time are still leopards, and they can be regarded as essentially lethal predators, especially if you're an impala. And right now, actually, impala males are the most vulnerable prey item on the menu for most predators at the moment. So back to Gowrie Dam. There are a whole bunch of buffalo at Gowrie Dam at the moment. We've had really strange weather this afternoon. A minute ago it was cloudy again, and now suddenly it's opening up. Looks like it's going to be a really beautiful late afternoon. And sunset. If some of this cloud stays there, then it's going to be an awesome sunset. Look. Hello. Good evening. Good afternoon. Tina in Amsterdam, I think, was the first one that came back with an answer on the flower. Plumbago. You're quite right, Tina. Plumbago, but I need you to repeat or spell for me the Dutch name for it. Didn't quite get that. Tina's sending a message from Amsterdam. Takes it's a long way to go. Uses a little bit in the translation, but interested. Manentro in Dutch. Thanks for that, Tina. And there are a bunch of people asking if it's called a farewell flower. I don't know that, but you see, I'm open to learning something new. But could well be called a farewell flower. I don't know that, but it is a plumbago. It's the dry season, so there hasn't been that much moisture for those flowers to really get as big as they should. They're somewhat stunted. Our local jugger boy is biding their time. Beautiful and late afternoon here at the dam, but we have a mission. Because I think these pachyderms changed course. I need to find out which course they've chosen and where they've gone. somewhere up here in this bush belt, I suspect there's a cat because that's where Inga's house is. That's where we're based at the moment. Inga's the part of the family that owns this property and we're using the house at the moment. There have been monkeys alarm calling amongst this bush belt all day. And right now, I'm not too sure of where these elephants are. I'm going to take a trip down Twin Dams Road again to see if we can find some tracks. See where they're crossing. But their trajectory was here towards the dam when I saw their track crossing Weaver's Nest Road. I need to see where they track across this road so that we can follow them if they're running.
Diana, come in. Afternoon, Greg. It's up to you, Greg. I'm coming down the island north. Can I come join you with those drones?
Somebody's found already.
There's still a static, but it looks like they're going to go out shortly.
Copy. They're going to head towards the dam or more to the road as well?
Somebody's looking already.
Yeah, they're moving a little bit more in a northerly direction. Not too sure if they're going to go to the dam yet.
Doesn't law of northerly direction to where, if I may ask?
Yeah, Quarantine Road.
Copy, thank you. Can I join you, please?
Yeah, no problem.
So they changed direction. They were coming down towards here, and they seem to have headed back up towards Quarantine. That's interesting because a giraffe might even be heading that way. So we'll see if we can find them now coming across this Walberg's Nest Road, going up towards Quarantine. Easy to miss a set of footprints from a herd of elephants, and I've just basically been waiting for them to come out of this particular block that they're in. Unless you know where they are, you can't sort of go randomly driving into dense bush like this, just hoping to find them, because probably the noise is going to distract them entirely. Unlike this morning when we were with them, when they were crossing the roads, and we actually entered into a bush area with them. We'd been with them for a fair amount of time, and they were accustomed to the sound of us moving with them as they moved through the bush, and the times that I had to drive over dry twigs and dry branches and make those kind of noises. Just go crashing in there to find them. Oh, it's kind of disrespectful. You're hoping they're going to come out here somewhere. There's the vehicles from the research camp. There's a group of people training. They're doing guide training there now under the tutorship of Lee Guthridge. They are evidently with them, supposedly coming out onto quarantine right now. Means they did an almost 90-degree turn after crossing Weaver's Nest. Weaver's Nest is an extension of this road that goes down to Philemon Strip and beyond Gary Main. And I don't see anything. I'm not giving up, folks. I'm staying here until I can find them. Hello, Catherine. Texas. My mom's second name is Catherine. Catherine in Texas wants to know if we get fireflies here. They're called nightlights in Texas. They put them in jars. But I wouldn't put them in jars because it's kind of like a prison, really. Our fireflies, we do get fireflies, Catherine. Our fireflies are mostly only out in the warm, humid summer months during the wet season, and you find them mostly down in the drainage lines on the edges of rivers and dams and water bodies. And one of the main reasons for that is because the female firefly is known as a glowworm, and she likes to spend time around the edges of ponds and the edges of the water and in really moist habitat. And on warm, humid evenings, you're likely to see these, I wouldn't say swarms really, but large groups of male fireflies flying around. The difference between a glowworm and a firefly is that the male, who's the firefly, is actually not a fly, he's a beetle, believe it or not. But they call them fireflies. I don't know why they call them a firefly. Same as the female is called a glowworm, is not a worm. She just never pupates into an adult. She just never gets wings. She stays in almost a larval state, and she has a constant glow on her abdomen, and she advertises with that, and then the males compete by flashing their abdomens. It's an involved process using bacteria and all sorts of things. I won't get into the technical details right now. Sometimes you see a lot of fireflies. What you will not see, or rather what are not fireflies, are sometimes the insects that fly in front of the lights, in front of the cameras at night, because you will never see a firefly in light, in front of the light. What you see are actually just the vibrations of the moth wings that react to the frequency of the light, and it looks like they're flashing. Brent's on the airstrip at Arathusa. We're going to go over and see what he's got while I'm trying to find some elephant who shouldn't be really that hard to find since they're such big creatures. So I'm going to try and find them, and I'll see you in a little while. Giraffe was here.
Welcome back, everyone. Sorry, while we were tracking those lion tracks, we went into some really low-lying areas and our signal jumped a bit. Update on those tracks, unfortunately they have crossed to our western boundary. So one of those things, I'm afraid. We can't keep them all to ourselves all the time. So, oh, excuse me. We're on the airstrip at the moment. There's a nice big waterbuck bull. There's also some plovers that were making strange noise here. I'm wondering whether they've got a new nest, as we found quite a few plovers' nests on this airstrip this year. Let's have a, there we go, there's a crowned lapwing. Let's see if it charges us. Oh. Have a look carefully on that side there. If it's not a nest, there could even be a little one keeping dead still. Saw a bit of an excavation. No, they're not too worried, so I don't think there's a nest there. They sometimes will even charge your car when they do have a nest. Oh, what about disappearing into the bushes? Interestingly, waterbuck don't have a normal sort of coat of fur like impala and a lot of the other antelope. Oh, there's another one there. There's two and some impala behind. So their fur is actually hollow. It's more like a quill. So it's designed very much like a porcupine quill. They also have a gland on the back of their neck that you'll see them sometimes putting their nose in and spreading an very oily substance from that over their coat, and that gives them a sort of slight waterproof coating. Not really true waterproof, but also what does mean quite often is you can very much smell waterbuck and smell them where they've been. So I got a question for you guys out there. A little bit of a different question, not the one we normally do, but as you know, we operate in Arathusa Private Game Reserve and Juma Private Game Reserve, which all fall within the Sabi Sands Game Reserve. I was going to say, who knows what animal is the emblem of the Sabi Sands Game Reserve? Who could tell me what animal is the emblem of the Sabi Sands Game Reserve? And you can send your answers to questions@wildearth.tv, or you can just use the hashtag Safari Live if you're on Twitter. So we're going to head down to sort of the southeastern side of the airstrip, see if we find anything there. So, the one day when I wasn't live, and I know Scott's also seen it here, we've seen a dusky lark, and every time we live, we come here and we really go slowly to try and get you guys a visual of that dusky lark. So far, we haven't been lucky. Maybe today is our day. You'll see that quite a stiff wind this afternoon, and I'll get Bryan to show you the windsock when we're a little bit closer. You can see them. You can see quite a strong wind. The windsock is floating away there. We got a question in. Hi, Miss Jin from Texas. Welcome on the Sunset Safari. Yo, we can see the wind's really going now. Since we were tracking lions that unfortunately crossed across our western boundary. Oh, we've got something else interesting here as well. But we're going to answer Miss Jin's question first. Miss Jin would like to know, how do two prides of lions, when they're fighting, recognize each other in the dark? Well, Miss Jin, their eyesight is a lot better than ours. as well as the fact that I'm pretty sure they can smell the difference between the different pride members. But in big lion fights that I have seen in the past, I actually have seen members of the same pride get confused in the battle and accidentally hit each other, and they'll sort of go, ooh, whoops, sorry, meant to hit that one, and off they'll go and do that. But I just noticed something here on the edge of the airstrip I haven't seen before. I'm going to jump out and grab it quickly. Oh, smelly! My goodness, I can't smell it at the moment. Let me just pop this back in quickly. Okay, so we've got a tortoise, a leopard tortoise here. Let me just... all that's come out is basically the remains of what was in that tortoise that have been decomposed. But I was looking carefully. I can only see half of it here, but you can see very definite sort of teeth crunch marks there. There's another one in there. We can see a definite teeth mark. I mean, it's probably hyenas. It could have been killed by something else. That is still quite smelly. But probably hyenas. Just judging by there, I'm just seeing the inside. It's a bit too messy in there, but probably killed by hyenas. There are other animals. I've seen lions eat tortoise before. Ground hornbill, but judging from this one looks like it was a hyena that's opened it up. Just there are distinct teeth marks in there, but yeah, very sad. Little tortoise became hyena bait. So looking down the airstrip, it seems a bit quiet today in this very cool wind that's blowing. You can see some impala in the distance. That's about it. But we will go check. Quite often we get lucky, maybe there's some zebra or wildebeest. Done, Chris. Chris was the one who answered the question correctly about what is the emblem for the Sabi Science Game Reserve. A few of you said lion and leopard, but the emblem is a waterbuck. A male waterbuck specifically with those beautiful big horns. There were quite a few others who also got waterbucks, so well done to everyone. Chris was first. Oh, it looks like all the impala on this end of the airstrip, all the guys with no girlfriends. Looks like all I can see in front of me is males. So these guys haven't been successful in keeping a harem of girls together. They come up on the right. Well, some of the boys are a bit young to compete yet. But there's wonderful golden light on them at the moment. They are very beautiful. Very beautiful antelope. Oh, I just spotted another one running in. Even in the bachelor group, there's the dominant one. Okay. We're going to meander down towards the southern side of the airstrip. If we don't see anything more there, I think we're going to start moving our way back towards Juma. Lots of lapwings and impala. No dusky lark just yet. Oh, and some doves.
Hi everyone. What we've kind of explained where these elephants are. These elephants are right down below the dam wall, just on our right hand side. This is the Milwaukee River. They are making their way up towards the dam slowly, I guess. We're going to try and get into the riverbed, try and see them. They're still down there. But really difficult to see from this distance because it goes down very deep. There's very dense tambuti and guarri thickets. And I think once we get down below the dam wall, we might be able to see them for a little bit. But then the key is going to be able to be back up on the dam wall, because I have no doubt that eventually, maybe just at sunset, they might pop out, go and have a drink or go to the water. Put some mud on or something. Diana says she loves succulents. Are there any succulents that I can show you here in the Swabi sand? Diana, there are, but they are not that easily seen. Are they coming up this way?
Slowly coming up the drainage line.
I guess patience will win and we'll get them at the water. I don't know if I can get... Diana, there are a number of succulents. The one succulent we did see a little while ago was the stapelia, that carrion flower. Other succulents that we get, crassulas, we get portulaxis, cissus. There are two types of cissus. It's a creeper, succulent creeper. Cissus rotundifolia and quadrangularis.
Yeah, correct. Have you got still there?
Not yet. Yeah, maybe we'll have this one.
Okay, I can do it.
We're going to stop and listen quickly. So they might go out of the riverbed onto the other side, or they might be coming this way. Last I saw of any one of them, and it was difficult to see, it was just a very quick glimpse, was about just under 100 yards down the drainage line, so it might take a little while before they get here. Okay, copied. I am stationary. I'll move now.
Mark, you got a visual?
Negative. I think it might take them a while still. I'm not seeing any ellies. So I think we'll get out of the drainage line. Maybe we'll go up onto Central Road. And we'll come up there. And just have to keep doing what we've been doing, waiting for them to come out of the bush. Because they're most likely going to be coming here anyway.
Hey, just down in the drainage line. Heavy vehicles are blocked.
Okay, over there. Yeah, check at the source road. That's how that's good.
Over, I'm not too sure. I went up north. If I could relocate on the Zingala, that they crossed over to Monuletti from Champagne, so I'm not too sure.
Well, it seems that all three of us are waiting here now. And it's almost like great expectations for this family of elephant to appear. We are way downwind from them, but that wouldn't really be an issue even if they were concerned. I think I'm going to go back to Twin Dams Road. have a bit of the best of both worlds. We've got the sunset happening and a view of the dam. And the buffalo. The buffalo are actually starting to make their way away from the dam now. They've the open area. They've spent the day in a safe place around the water. Chewing the cud. Now it's time to go off and replenish those food supplies that they've been chewing at all day. And quite nice light on them. I'm sure a lot of people will see it on the Juma waterhole cam as some of the buffalo start making their way away from the dam. I think we'll find ourselves a spot just about here. The last buffalo to get up. Is this too much of an angle? We'll see now. Making a lot of noise. Complaining that they've all left without him. The last buffalo to dam. Rather an unusual sky for this time of the year. Up until now we've been having mostly just clear blue skies, and then of course we get that lovely red, orange to red sunset. A little bit of cloud, a little bit of moisture that must have blown through today, cold front that must have come in. I think these elephants have probably gone out onto Gowrie cut line. Craig, come in. Has anyone got a visual? Where was your last visual?
Where I pulled off near where I think it was Kanuma at that daycare bunker. The east of St. Road.
Okay, because they've probably crossed out and gone down Gowrie cut line now.
I've got a feeling about it on the same. Lee, have you got a visual? Alright, Marco, he's got a visual on the eastern side.
Yeah, we've got some audio here behind us. We're just going to have a look to see if they come out here or if it comes through the drainage chute.
Sounds like they're the other side of the dam. How's that? He just walked right through the dam. That shows you how deep it is. And I suppose it shows that it's not going to last very much longer. It's going to get a lot smaller. drainage line. We were on the right side. Drainage line. We were on the right side. One of those things. When elephants change their minds, they change their minds. That's one of the things about being an elephant. You can turn left wherever you want to, or right, or you can just turn around and go the other way. And us humans try to predict where they're going to be. Now, the water here at Gari Dam is shrinking, so it's not really that great. And I know that there are bigger dams up north in Buffelshoek, and if they do want water, she would rather take the herd, or they would rather take the herd to water up on Buffelshoek. That is maybe fresher than to come to Gari Dam. It's just a speculation. Maybe with the cool temperatures today, they don't need any water right now. Beautiful sky off to the west, the sunset. Hello. Yeah. You know that you had you got air on your front left there. That's pretty good done. Brent, and the elephants are here now, so, but they're coming out to the dam, so we'll quickly give you a link to Brent. They're about to come out of the drainage line, that's why we haven't been able to see them. So I think if we just sit quietly now, we'll see the whole herd. We'll actually be able to count them now, finally. You can see the kind of dense bush in the bottom of this riverbed. How dense it really is. Okay, we need to position ourselves, Liam. She's listening, they're listening before they come to the dam. We're going to just go around there so that we can get them when they come to the water. Buffalo, just temporarily I have to bypass you. Sorry, Mr. B. I'll see you shortly. Hello, madam. Bryan on Twitter. Will the ellies stop eating and spend time resting at night? Elephants don't really sleep. Sorry, I'll kind of listen to what was needed on the radio there, Penny Pine. See, look at that, that just disappeared. Something got to be in their bonnet, and they've headed off north. They do rest for short periods of time. They, especially in the heat of the day and during the night, there are times during the night when they will stop feeding and they'll stand still and they will actually rest their bodies and rest themselves. But no, they pretty much got to eat most of the time. Most of their 24 hours they've got to be eating, processing food, or drinking, or cooling down. I know where they're going. They're probably going to that little waterhole in front of Gallagher Camp because that's got fresh water in it. And we wanted to look around here anyway, just in case there's a cat here that the monkeys were shouting at, because the elephants might flush a cat if it is around. Interesting question from Memphis. Sharon, hello Sharon. Referring to buffalo, we see them chewing the cud, we see them feeding, we see them resting up at the dams in the mud holes and in the water, chewing their cud, but we never see them drinking. Or do we just miss them drinking? Do they get their moisture from their food? Sharon, they do drink. I guess we just don't get to see them drinking. And if there's ever something to see, a sight to see, it is a breeding herd of buffalo that have been out in the grassland all day and they're coming back to the river or the lake or the dam or whatever it may be. They're coming back for their evening drink or their morning drink for that matter. Almost becomes like a stampede to get to the water. But also I suppose when you see them sitting in the water, when they're chewing the cud in the water, you don't notice them dip their faces in and take a sip time to time, just to sort of moisten moisten the cud, as it were, a bit of soup with the veggie. Okay, well, let's go to Brent. I think he has something to show you. And I'm going to see if these ellies are not going to that little freshwater dam at Gallagher Camp. Why they forewent, or they didn't stop at Gowrie Dam. I'll see you in a little while. Probably by then it'll be dark.
Welcome back, folks. Sorry about that. We seem to be having a little bit of technical issues today, but we're back on Vuatela, and we've come to the hyena den, and we can see there's a single female there, and if you look very carefully, sort of out of the middle of her body, there's another ear. So there's a cub suckling. And then if we go off to the left again slightly, we'll come back to these two now, behind a bush over there, a little bit more to the left. There we go. Directly behind that small buffalo thorn. You can have a look. There's another hyena sleeping down there. Obviously there could be a few more lying around close by to the den, but those are the only three we can see at the moment. Not very active, very cool wind, but still nice. I haven't been to the hyena den in such a long time. Thought I would pop in, and the last couple of times I've been, there's been no one at home. Now, as you saw, it's been quite interesting that the one cub, who's probably, 4.5, 5 months old now, we spotted a while ago, probably about 4.5, 5 kilometers from the den, with a group of 4 adults, where Mvula had a kill up a tree. So it's amazing, those young hyenas are already moving with the adults as they go out foraging. Very, very quiet at the hyena den. Was hoping there'd be a little bit of activity because it was cool. It looks like everyone's fast asleep. So the sun is starting to go down, and you guys know we don't really want to stay at the hyena den after dark. We don't want to put undue pressure on any of the youngsters. So I think we're going to meander on up the hill, and hopefully the next time we come to visit, everyone will be a little bit more active than they are this afternoon. The sun's just dipped over the horizon to the west of us. Not even lifting their heads as we drive away. So this morning, we got a few emails into the final control, a few tweets, and a few of you noticed that I'm not firing on 100% all cylinders. So I decided, how can I use this flu to my advantage? So I bought and pulled out one of my books, which is called Indigenous Healing Plants. Oh, sorry guys, it looks like Marc's found something interesting. We're going to cross across to him very quickly, but we'll be back with you just now.
Well, they suddenly got a lot of speed on them. One of the reasons why they came marching straight past Juma waterhole was because they were on. They know they've been here. They know this water is pumped every day. It's borehole water. It's clean water. And as closer they were getting to, this is Gallagher, in front of Gallagher Camp. The closer they've been getting to this waterhole here at Gallagher Camp, the faster they were running. And it's been a little bit of a shoving match because some of the females like to ascertain their dominance. I want to just sit where they can see the little ones maybe. That's a nice view. And just behind them to the left, the deck at Gallagher Camp, which you can just see the railing of before VM zoomed in. But we're here for elephants, not deck railings. Thirsty children from a day's outing out in the bush. We certainly spent some quality time with them today.
Oh, we're not live. Up to is 3 MB2 that's okay.
She's looking. There are a couple of buffalo bulls that have moved off. They were probably sleeping here today, and they must be moving through the bush because there's one cow whirled around and spread her ears in that direction, expecting a bit of a threat because she must have heard something moving in the bush, but then realizing that it was not a threat, turning around and drinking again. Now you'll notice that much unlike their approach to other waterholes for different reasons when they're going to have a mud bath or a swim, when they're drinking, they barely put their feet in the water. This is how meticulous elephants are, and testament to the fact that they really, really would prefer fresh water. And if they have access to fresh water, they will go to any lengths to get to it rather than have to drink from some of these dams, pretty much like we would too. Our Gallagher Camp is a little private camp here at Juma Game Reserve. It's a self-contained little camp, and it's a self-catering camp. You can hire the whole little camp, and there'll be a vehicle for you to take you out on game drive to see all of these characters. And it's so sad that at a time when there's a whole herd of elephants right here in front of the deck, right in front of the camp, there's actually sadly no one here to watch it except us. But it's a nice opportunity. A little bit of disciplining happening. That youngster at the back was disciplined by this big cow. Coming back to the waterhole now. Don't know what it did wrong. It was just getting too clingy, I think. The female walked back there to see there's a bird bath right in front of the deck, and this cow went to see if there was any water there that maybe was different to this water. And the calf was very clingy, and she turned around and pushed it away, almost as if to say, "Give me space, child." So, reprimanded. It squealed. Hillary, hello Hillary. Hillary on Twitter was asking how long it takes for a baby elephant, like this little child, to learn how to use its trunk to drink water, to learn how to efficiently. Well, let's see, this little one is probably about a 2-year-old, maybe 3-year-old. No, it can't be a 3-year-old, it's only about a 2-year-old. It's not using its trunk properly. It's I think it's getting water in its trunk, but it's sucking the water out of its trunk as opposed to blowing the water out of its trunk. I think it's still learning. How long? I don't know. It's probably a good few years before they really get adept at using their trunks properly for all sorts of reasons, and not only drinking water, but it's everything that they do with their trunks. Their trunk is everything. I mean, it's our hands, our nose, a whole bunch of things all rolled into one. Well, it's intrigued by it.
Are you trying to call? Nigel speaking.
Uncle James, I was trying to get hold of either Dave or Greg.
Are they out in the game driving tonight?
They've just left camp, yes.
My guess is the matriarch is the one that has now stepped away. She's a big girl. She's the one with the broken tusk that we were watching today. This is now the herd. Pretty much most of the herd we saw today. Hello, girl. And with her moving off, that's a sign that the rest must follow. She's clearly the oldest. There are three other mothers. We can see the children who follow them are probably the little one that's got a splashed face. Must have stood under its mother when she was drinking. Got a pattern on its face, like paint, war paint. Hello, Ellies. Thank you very much for such a wonderful day spent with you. Bless you all. From all of our viewers from all over the world, this is the best way to have the sun set on us, having spent so much time with these 4 big girls. There are 4 big girls. There's 2 teenagers, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 children. I don't know what to say. It's very emotional and it's very special. It's humbling. It is. And look at that little one that's drinking from its mother. And the little boys, they naturally, what little boys do, they play with the water. Children sticking close to moms, getting dark. there's nothing I can. There's nothing that it is part of the construction of the dam that's been broken away. It's part of the lining, and the elephant is. I'm going to pick it up as soon as they go by. But an elephant's curious. It's like a toy. See, it's going to put it on its head, wear it like a hat. It's curious about it. It's not going to do anything other than throw it around. But it was probably used as a lining for this little water hole. And I guess with the buffalo and the large mammals that have been in it, it's cracking a little bit of the concrete and the lining is showing. And well, just as well the ellie pulled it out, because he's having more fun splashing than drinking, the other one. Both of them, in fact. They're experimenting with water. He's actually feeling for more. He's just being naughty, but he's doing a good job. He's picking it up, and then I'll go and collect it. Just a lovely early sunset. Welcome to Juma, everyone. Bats already flying around the ellies. See, he's learning how to squeeze water out both sides. You see that? He sucks water up, and then he closes his trunk, his fingers at the tip of his trunk, and then he squeezes the water out on both sides of his trunk. Almost like that. It's almost like he enjoys doing that. Your mamas are leaving you behind, children. It's always the little boys. Now this scenario is typical what happens in elephant society. The mothers and the calves and the females they haven't gone far. They're actually just here on the tree line feeding. But the little boys always dawdle behind. They always take their time, because this is where they start getting their independence. And these are barely 10-year-olds, these little boys, 8 to 10-year-olds, and already lagging behind. So by the time they're going through puberty, they can spend time further distance away from the herd, but still be in touch. And still be close enough if needed. He just threw a stick at us. And they certainly don't like lights, so we don't want to be putting lights on them. I think we've had a super afternoon with them, even though it took us a while to find them. Luckily we eventually did. And it's going to be time to put on a layer or two. It's starting to get chilly, and hook up a spotlight for our evening safari after sunset. Last half hour or so. Bye, ellies. Thank you. Love you lots. Bye. Leaving the luck of these and low static at Gallagher Waterhole.
Where are you from?
There you are. Good night, Mrs. Elephant.
If it's close by, smoking, welcome to guys. Have a good night. Okay, good.
Hello, Grace. In Dallas, Texas. Would the ellies spray each other just for fun? They do. They would. They have. Especially when they're swimming, they splash each other with their trunk. They jump on each other. They push them. They push each other under. They even sometimes push each other into the water to swim. They're like children. They are children. They're elephant children. Whatever our children do is play, they do. Except they don't have Nintendos and Sonys and Xboxes. Kind of play that our children would do if they didn't have modern toys. Elephants have calves any time of the year, or is there a specific time of the year? Question from Cindy in Wisconsin. To my knowledge, Cindy, elephants can calve any time of the year. They have about a 22-month gestation period, and that coupled with an estrus period and an interval of several years, because it takes 2 or 3 years to raise a calf before she'll be able to fall pregnant again, and then if she conceives, she'll have an almost 2-year pregnancy, and then another 2 years of after that calf. So it can take a while between calves, and because it's a really irregular kind of thing, there is no special time of year, not like we're experiencing with impala, for example, or the wildebeest. We don't see the wildebeest in the mating stage as much as we have with the impala, because the impala is so vocal about it. All the female impala need to fall pregnant at a particular time, and the lambs will need to be born at a particular time when it is most convenient to raise them and to stay healthy. So animals like that, there are specific times of the year. But for a number of animals, it doesn't really matter. Or there is probably a predominance of birth time with spring. Some animals are not necessarily that dependent on season. In fact, some animals will breed better in the winter months. A wild dog do better raising pups in the dry season. There's less parasite load. It's dustier. It's drier. It's easier to hunt. It's easier to raise cubs. Pups, I mean. But elephants, not really any specific time of the year. That's something I haven't heard before. Patty in Michigan. Hello, Patty. That's a very interesting story. The very first time Patty was here, Patty came out from Michigan, and the first day out here in the Sabi sand, fell asleep at the swimming pool and woke up, and she was surrounded by elephants who were drinking from the pool, which is what elephants would do because the swimming pool water is really, really clean. I don't think the chlorine affects them too badly. And hello, impala. Stopped too soon. And Patty wants to know, well, she was frozen. She wishes she could have interacted with them. She wishes she had even spoken to them. But she wants to know, from my opinion, my point of view, did she do the right thing, just being very, very silent and keeping very, very still? I think so, Paddy. I think if they had been approaching you and then you made it known and you spoke to them while they were approaching and then they still approached, it would be a different story. But to wake up and have them around you, I think if you had spoken or moved or made any gestures, that might have given them a fright and then they might have just run off. I don't think you were in any danger. I certainly don't think you were in any danger. But I do think that by sitting quietly you gained the most amazing experience rather than having done something to change their behavior. They probably knew full well that you were there and that you were restful. Hello, children. You're trying to get away from the ram. You're going to sneak. He's going to come and get you. He just has to look at her and she gets back into line. He puts his head down, he does a particular gesture, and while they comply, he's being like a sheepdog. Or he's shepherding. That's what he's doing. He's shepherding his flock. He doesn't want them talking to us. He's moving his head around. Not really worried about the little boy behind him because he's just a young ram. But as far as the females are concerned, he's moving them along. He's shepherding them away. Don't talk to those humans. Okay, let's turn around a little bit. Can't miss this. This beautiful light, sunset, and it is impala rocking. See, all they've done is go behind us. Once he's relaxed, they can relax. He's quite vigilant. He turns around and he just makes sure they're all in line, but ultimately he spends most of his time looking out for other rams that want to come in and either take his place or steal some females. He's going to fetch the ones that haven't crossed the road yet. Little boy and the mother. She seems to be defying him. And through all of this, you'll see he barely takes time to eat. I think we're coming up towards the end of the rutting season now, and the noises and the running around hasn't been as intense as it has over the last couple of weeks, but he spends so much time doing this and chasing off young rams wanting to come back to their mothers, or chasing off adult rams who want to come and displace him, and then keeping the herd close. He doesn't maintain his condition for very long.
Nigel, come in. Yeah, boss. Hi, Nigel. It's Vic here.
Beautiful sky. I'm just going to put on a cover. It's starting to get a bit chilly. Our waxing crescent moon. Kelsey, hello. Savannah in Georgia, wanting to know if impala rams will get more aggressive towards vehicles during the rutting season like male elephants do when they're in must. No, absolutely not. We don't see us as competition, but also male elephants in must don't necessarily get aggressive with the vehicles. They get aggressive with what the vehicle does. And that's all how the driver of the vehicle behaves, unfortunately. I've spent many times with must elephant bulls in many different countries where they come up to the vehicle and they don't do anything to the vehicle because there's just a vehicle sitting quietly not doing anything. But when vehicles start revving engines and doing all sorts of funny things, it can really make a big elephant bull a little bit upset sometimes. Well, it's getting a bit dark to see the impala, so we're going to continue. And we'll drive around quarantine. I'm going to go back down to maybe Gowrie Dam way. We can find for an evening safari just after sunset. Greetings to Finland, to Raisa, asking if bushbuck and duiker have territories. Duiker have territories. But bushbuck, I don't think you could really call it a territory that bushbuck have. Bushbuck live in a particular area that's just sort of like a home range. It's just like an area that they live in. It's like you live in a town. Bushbuck will challenge each other for access to females rather than for territorial rights. So there isn't really a proper territory, as it were, with bushbuck. More like a home range. I don't think they actively defend the territory as do some other antelope. Much like kudu, their cousins, or the nyala. They're quite social out of breeding periods, but once the breeding season comes along, the males get very competitive, and that's when they can challenge each other, and that's when it all becomes about access to groups of females more than actually where everything is, where it is. Duiker will actively mark and defend territories because they are more monogamous, and it's more in their interests to protect the one female and the one set of offspring that they may have at a time, or not set, but one offspring that they have at a time, to ensure their gene carries through, their genetic code, their genetic material lasts till adulthood. Benefits of defending a territory is making sure that your gene, your progeny, survives. Interesting. Brent's got something interesting to follow up on, so we're going to cross over to Brent. I think I saw him on the top end of quarantine as we were coming down this way, so let's cross over to Brent and I'll see you in a little while.
Got a report over the radio from one of the other vehicles that has been stopped for sundowners. Can hear a whole bunch of kudu alarm calling near Treehouse Dam. So we're going to shoot into that area, and hopefully there's a predator around there. So we're going to be going a little bit quicker than normal for this next little bit. Oopsie. So guys, sorry, I know you guys went off to have some fantastic elephants with Marc there. So we didn't get around to the cold and flu medicine. I'm afraid I think I'm going to have to save that for tomorrow. Just to give you something to think about though, it is made from a plant I have taught you and shown you quite a few times before. So let's just chew on that one for a little bit. Also, in some quite exciting news, tomorrow morning we're going to have a new presenter trying out. His name is James, and he's a very old friend of mine, and we've actually worked together in the bush before. So quite exciting to have James here trying out as a presenter. And James has got lots and lots of experience and has been in the bush a long time, and a very dear and close friend of mine. So what I am hoping is that the last place quarantine was seen was in Little Gowrie, which is directly to the south of us, which is the boundary towards that direction. And from what I heard from Aubrey, that it sounds like those alarm cars were coming from that direction. Just to follow up on that report of those two males feeding off the same carcass, quarantine young male and Kunyuma young male. And that actually happened like 3 days ago, from what I heard from the guides to the west of us. But they only popped it on Facebook yesterday. So they haven't actually seen either of those animals, although I hear there might be a report of Kunyuma somewhere to our south on a Diker kill. But that is, I'm not 100% sure on that yet. But I will follow up after drive. So, from what we heard, those alarm calls to the north of the dam in this general area around here. So we're going to go slowly through here, and maybe we'll get some luck. So we've arrived in the area of those alarm calls. So we are a little bit late. So it's unlikely that they'll be alarming now. But as we know, lots of leopards like to use roads as highways. So what we're going to do is we're going to just meander down here a little bit. Then I'm going to switch off and listen for a few seconds. Also checking tracks constantly, see if there are any tracks in the road. No, it's a Diker. For those of you who might be new, we don't shine the spotlights on the diurnal animals. Their eyes are made up differently from nocturnal animals, so it can affect them. Oh, excuse me. So when we see one, we switch off the lights, put the spotlights up in the air. So here are the kudu, and that's what Aubrey said was alarming, so we're right in the right zone now. Oh, excuse me. Thank you. Gilly from Wisconsin. Apparently a lot of the Juma junkie ladies are offering me, they would make me homemade chicken soup. Thank you very much, that would be much appreciated. Be a bit difficult to get it across the ocean though, without it going bad. So while Bryan and I check this area where the kudu were alarm calling, we're going to cross over to Marcus, and hopefully we'll see you again a little bit later.
Well, night has fallen in the Sabi Sands, Kruger National Park of South Africa, and we're on barely a track heading into the darkness and the unknown. We don't know what is up ahead. It could be marauding lions, it could be pouncing leopards, it could be bloodthirsty giraffe, it could be manic monkeys. Oh yeah, but by the way, he's been abducted. That magnetic monkey disappeared. I don't know if he joined the local troop of vervet monkeys that came around this morning or yesterday. Yes, this is the exciting part of the day where we try and find you some of the nocturnal animals that might be lurking behind every bush, under every leaf. Hello, Susan, in the Netherlands. Susan wants to know if I've ever seen an elephant give birth in the wild. I've ever seen it live. I haven't, Susan. I haven't had the privilege. I think it's, I haven't even seen an impala give birth, and I live in the bush. 24/7, 365 a year. I live in the bush. I just ventured into the city for the first time in a long time. Just recently, my first glimpse of airports and traffic lights and traffic, period. Just cars. Gosh. Got a culture shock after a couple of years. Anyway, lived in the bush. I've never seen an impala give birth, never even seen it. The only thing I've seen give birth is a cow. And that was that was a domestic cow. Although she was pretty angry at me because she thought I wanted to steal her calf. But it must be something to witness, to be a part of. I've seen it on film. Tom. Hello, Tom, from Missouri. Do I think that the elephants that we spent time with today would recognize the different guides and presenters and people in the vehicles, camera people, the guys? I think, Tom, if we got to see the same elephant over consistent periods of time, very much so, yes. I think when we see one herd of elephant like this particular herd, and I don't recall seeing, I might have photographs of this herd, but I don't think we see them frequently enough for them to get used to us. I think most certainly from our time today, spending time with them today, they got to know maybe the sound of my voice. They got to know most certainly the sound of jigger. And if anything, elephants will react more to the sound of the vehicles than they will to recognizing the people, because essentially it's the vehicle that to them is either the aggressor or either passive or aggressive. And it does have a lot to do with how a person drives a vehicle. I mean, there have been times when I've been a game ranger in a lodge with multiple game rangers, and we've all had our own vehicles. and occasionally a vehicle breaks down, you have to drive another person's vehicle, you get to see what animals react to that vehicle, especially elephants, depending on how that guide reacts to elephants. So I think to a large extent, things like quietly sitting with the elephant today for most of the morning drive, our sunrise safari, and now spending time with them at sunset, with them drinking and then just coming past us to go feeding, and not really even acknowledging us, let alone being worried about us or hindered by our presence. I'd like to think that they do. I'd like to think that there's certain elephants I have at home that come to my house. There's one in particular. He stands on my stoep at my front door. He eats my aloes. He torments me by breaking my plants. But that's because I shouldn't really have plants. I live in the bush. Elephant thinks I'm planting things there for his benefit. It's his own pharmacopoeia. I can't blame him. It's his. What's mine is his. What's mine is every elephant. Just don't touch my baobab. But I hope that I can get to spend more time with this particular herd of elephant that we were with today. And over time I might be able to answer that question better, Tom. But I don't think we spend enough time with them for them to form that kind of bond. And there's just so many elephants here. In Thornybush it was a lot different. Thornybush, one herd of elephant, got to know specific guides and got to interact with them in different ways. Well, we're back at Philemon's Dip. We're going to be heading up towards quarantine. I want to thank you for your time today, spending time with us on drive, supporting us. Thank you also for all the questions. I hope you had as much of a fantastic time as I did with the elephants. It was superb. It was absolutely special. So, from myself, Marc, and VM, behind the camera, thank you, VM, for all the good stuff today. And I'm going to hand you back to Brent. And I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye, everybody. Love you lots.
How's that a link? Hi guys, welcome back. We've just been all the way around the Treehouse Dam. Unfortunately, we found the kudu, but we didn't find what they were alarming at. But that's, he's sitting on all sorts of things. A really good thing for tomorrow. Hopefully we find some tracks and it'll give us a good chance to look. But it's been great having you all with us this wonderful sunset drive. Really, really exciting that we found a serval. Bryan and I are still smiling ear to ear about that. First for both of us in this area. And also really excited to welcome James, who's trying out to be a presenter in the morning. We're very, very, very excited to have him here. As I said, he's got a lot of experience, been in the bush a long time. Really great guy, very funny. But other than that, it's been a wonderful afternoon. Marc's had some fantastic elephant viewing. We haven't been so lucky, but at the end of it, after finding a serval, I think Bryan and I are pretty done for the day. We're very, very excited about that. And we're really looking forward to all of you joining for the sunrise safari tomorrow morning. I myself, unfortunately, I'm not going to be out, so you're going to be out with Marc and James. And it'll be very exciting to have a new presenter for you guys to have a look at. And please let us know what you think of him. Obviously, you guys are our viewers and very important to us. And we look forward to hearing your feedback. And for the last couple of minutes, I think we're just going to let you listen to the stillness of the African bush and have a view of the moon. So from all of us here at WildEarth, good night and have a wonderful day or morning or evening wherever you are in the world.